Hey, Grizzly friends.
And happy no, I was going to say a Merry Christmas. Okay, stop. Okay.
Hey, Grizzly friends.
And Merry Christmas to you and yours.
It's Jane Francis with Find You Crazy. We're a family of 9 who live full-time in an RV with 5 of our kids as we travel the country to see every national park. But December is our favorite month because we get to sit, we get to gather all of our family together, and we get to experience Christmas. So in this video, we're going to share a little bit with you about what it looks like for a typical year of our Christmas.
And it
always starts
with Cracker Barrel.
So in this video, we did want to share kind of our family's approach to the Christmas season. So many families do so many different things, and last year we kind of took December off, and so we didn't do a lot of Christmas videos, so we got a lot of questions about that, and so we just wanted to share really kind of top to bottom what our typical Christmas season looks like. And it's pretty easy to describe, because one of the reasons that we love the Christmas season so much is because it matches so perfectly with the 3 pillars of our channel and really kind of intensifies those. So that's faith, family, and fun. So those are important to us throughout the entire year, but I mean, they really get amplified in December with the focus on Christ and His birth, which is the first and foremost important thing for everything that we do from Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's. Everything, that's the number one priority in the things that we do. But then also family. And that's a lot easier to do in the Christmas season because so much of what's happening has its roots, if not obviously subtly, into the birth of Christ, and so it's so much easier to do during that season. The second being family. Of course, we center everything during the Christmas season around family, so much to the point that both these last 2 years we've completely stopped our travels, come back to our hometown where our big girls and our son-in-law live, so that we can do everything as much as possible throughout that month together. And I mean, again, you think about Christmas, everything amplifies and emphasizes families, and so it's so much easier to do that. And then finally, of course, fun. And you can, that's in everything we do anyway, but man, during the Christmas season,
there's a lot of fun to be had.
There's a whole lot of fun to be had, and we really try to have as much of it as we can. So that's kind of how we approach everything through the season, and that plays itself out into a lot of family traditions. If you watch our channel, you've heard us talk before, creating traditions, annual traditions, is a really important thing for us. We really feel like that helps amplify those moments for kids when they look back. Think about your childhood. You don't normally think about those everyday meals and those soccer practices you went through. You think about those big moments, and if those big moments repeat, then they really are vivid in your mind. And so giving kids that opportunity we feel like is really important to building a strong family unit. And so we do that all year long. But again, man, like the number of annual traditions we have from Thanksgiving through New Year's is probably equal to the other 11 months combined.
Yes, and we have, we have the span right now. We have younger children who are just still all in the throes of all the fun and the magic and the mystery and the beauty of Christmas season. And then we have those that are older who now are just looking back and kind of reliving all of these traditions through the eyes of the younger children, and just enjoying that, giving that over to them and participating in a different way. And so I think what we we have seen throughout our growing up of our children and just rearing children from different places and different spaces and all different nationalities and ethnicities is that what it does is it brings a unifying factor to our family. Whether you joined our family through birth or through adoption, it doesn't really matter. What we're making are traditions that really solidify all of us together, and they unify us no matter how we join the family or what our backgrounds are. Man, those traditions, and that's the same way in your family. You look back at those times and the smells and the sounds and the songs and the trips and the pajamas and those things, they just light up our hearts, and they really just unify us together, because that's a bond we all share together. That's a common memory that we can laugh about, that we can giggle over, and we can look forward to every single year. So I do think as we've seen our kids grow up, I would say that is such an important thing, is no matter what you do, try to create some traditions that ground you in the things that are important, so that when you look back, man, those memories are just such a beautiful unifying factor in your family.
So we're going to kind of break things up, and we'll talk about our kind of Christmas Day traditions in a second. But so basically from Thanksgiving up until just a few days before Christmas, there are a lot of those things that are our absolute annual traditions, and they do still fall around this faith, family, and fun. There are a lot of things that we do that are traditions that focus in on Christ for the season. In fact,
for sure.
You click the link right up there. Francis did an entire video last year highlighting some of our major ones, and a lot of them we've had to adapt because a lot of them were built around our sticks and bricks. And our sticks and bricks, we had one Christmas tree that was entirely family, but we had another Christmas tree that was all the names and symbols of Christ, and so as we decorated it, we would talk about that. And so we've had to change some of those. But a lot of them, like our Jesse tree, which we've talked about several times on our channel in the last couple of years, is a huge part. And so we have these faith components that absolutely are there. But then we also have some family components that are absolutely there, like doing movie nights, getting everybody together for movie nights. Christmas movies has always been a huge part of what we love.
We have to make a list now.
We do. Now it's to the point
of like, who wants to watch it all together? Which one can we watch? Just the kids. We have to like check in with our big girls.
Yeah, now that our big girls are separated, like we only get, like, used to when we had everybody under one house, everybody was in high school and under, like we had 5 nights a week that we could gather and watch
every night
movie.
Before bed.
Now, so it's funny, like we have to prioritize, like, okay, these are the ones that we're
they
all
get really
watching
serious.
together.
Like we got called a traitor this year because we watched a movie with the little kids because we were like, there's just not enough time. And they were like, you're traitors. That's our hallmark. So, that goes back to traditions, and that goes back to those unifying factors. And so literally it's like fighting words, and some of the things that we're learning, we have to really prioritize.
So if you're wondering, some of our top ones, Charlie Brown Christmas is always, that's really the one that kind of usually kicks everything off. Muppets Christmas Carol is
now that one really is. That's probably our foundation.
Yeah, that's probably one of the top ones. Elf is just a good goofy one that we all love. Actually, a couple of recent additions, if you've got Netflix, you should really watch Klaus. That has become one of our top 5, probably.
Top 5. It's beautiful.
And then, of course, The Star from a couple years ago, if you've got kids,
and we watch that usually on Christmas Eve. So we kind of make a turn, and on Christmas Eve we start just really our faith component of Christ's birth. And so The Star is so well done. It is so sweet, but it also just focuses all of us, no matter what our ages are, on Christ.
And then, of course, the fun. So we got the faith, family, and then finally the fun. And so around these pillar traditions that are kind of the same throughout the month every year, we always sprinkle in as much other random fun as we can. And that's the other beauty about the Christmas season, is there's so much cheap or even free fun to be had out there. The walks through Bethlehems, the little farms that put on the light shows, around town, the things that only cost you $3 or $4, like the drive-through light things, or Petite Creek Farms is one that's right here by us, or even like crazy things like decorating Christmas cookies, or making
hot chocolate bombs. That's new this year. We brought that in this year.
So our 10-year-old son was a little upset that they didn't actually explode, but hey,
they did. They exploded with flavor and sprinkles and goodness.
So those are things that we do every year. So we want to share with you just a little montage of some of all of those traditions from the last several years, just to give you a flavor
and to
of what
see
all
how
this
they've
looks
grown
like.
up. Oh my goodness! Walk down memory lane.
What you making, Sky?
Mommy, look.
Put some more icing. Oh, don't do that.
Christopher, what are you doing to yours? Ooh, you're gonna put some. You gotta put some decorations on it too.
Now it's got. Now it's got an entrance.
Whoa! Whoa! Squish!
Squeeze it, 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 drive it. You gotta
What you
drive
doing,
it around.
Anley? You helping Joseph make his?
Yeah.
Oh, is that good, Sky baby? Is that good, Sky? Oh, just no. She can't eat that.
No. Sky, you want to put some sprinkles on here?
Yeah, you get to put sprinkles on it.
Sprinkles on here? Put sprinkles on here?
Hey.
Look, Daddy's got some sprinkles for you.
Put some of these big guys on there. Look.
Whoa, look at that.
You put them on here?
Whoa, I'm gonna put a big one in there.
Berries. We've been waiting to do the berries the whole time. We need some towards the top there, girl. We're in this
I am working.
Take that berry off.
So once we have had all of our fun throughout December, everything kind of builds to Christmas Day as the big climax of the season with Jesus' birth. And that's obviously a super fun time for everybody, especially kids, because of all of the presents. But what we found pretty early in our marriage was that that day ended up not being as much fun as it was a distraction and a lot of chaos sometimes. So we've never lived in the same state as either of our parents through our entire marriage. And so we always wanted to spend Christmas, do those gift giving as a nuclear family, but we also didn't want to give up Christmas with our families. And so we end up always traveling on Christmas Day. And so what we ended up finding out was we would get up and do the Christmas presents, but there was always like this kind of rush. And then we would get done and it was like, no, I'm sorry, that present's too big. You can't take it to Grandma and Grandpa.
That is so,
you have to leave that here.
Heart-wrenching.
And then we just
really
felt
tough.
like by the time we got to the end of the day, we hadn't met our focuses of Christ, of family, of fun.
And
it was
Jesus
like,
was born
Jesus
today.
was born today too.
and we're celebrating Jesus.
You know, we would stop and read the Luke 2 passage, but it just felt like it was stuck on top of it. So we actually, way before we had all of the 5 youngers, even before we started fostering, we were leading children's church one day at the church we were at, and we were talking about traditions. And this one little girl who was a part of our church, her family, I think they were from Scandinavia, maybe they were Swedish. They were from some Nordic country. And she said, oh, we do presents on Christmas Eve. We don't do presents on Christmas Day. And we both, we went home, and at lunch that day, we were like, wait a minute.
We could change this?
We
can pick?
And so from that point, we started moving around the day that we opened the presents on. Christmas Eve, because of me being a pastor, was also sometimes a little hectic because especially as we got into bigger churches and we were doing multiple Christmas Eve services, and I had lots of responsibilities there.
It too became very hectic to try to open presents on that day.
Normally, you know, we end up doing it kind of several days before. A lot of times on the 23rd, because that's kind of our present day, and then Christmas Eve is the focus on the Christmas Eve services, the candlelight services, and then Christmas Day is our birthday party for Jesus, and then going to see family. So that's kind of what we've settled into. And so on the 22nd, which is Christmas Eve, I guess.
Or whenever we find that we have a day that we can do it, really, is how it focuses.
Everybody gets to open the first gift of Christmas.
And you know what it is.
Always matching pajamas.
I know, it's a thing.
Yeah, as long as I can remember.
Forever.
We've been getting matching pajamas.
They've been little. Oh, yes, little bitty.
So, because that makes for the picturesque Christmas present day pictures of everybody in their brand new pajamas. But so then on present day, we have, even before we started doing that, we've always given our kids 3 gifts because, hey, Jesus got 3 gifts from the Magi, so
nobody gets more than Jesus.
Nobody gets more than Jesus, even though
they do.
But they get the 3 main gifts that are kind of from, Francis and I, and so that's where we start. But then the highlight, and it was a highlight kind of before, but really since we've gotten a big family, it has become the massive highlight. And that is the sibling gift exchange. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm sure with a big family you draw names. No.
We don't.
Every child gives a gift to every other child and to Francis and I.
It's like a gift explosion.
It is crazy. Which is also why it takes almost all day long, because we also stop for every single present. Like, everybody opens presents one at a time, and we watch. They go when it's their time to play Santa Claus. Joseph goes and he gets his gift and gives it to one sibling, and we watch him open it, and then Joseph goes to the other. So how do we do that?
Well, we had a really bad first run of it. So the first time we really decided to dive into this because our kids wanted to give gifts to each other. They were very young, and we really wanted to
allow them to do that. We wanted to make Christmas more as much about giving as it was about getting.
So really, the giving is their favorite part. It really is. I don't just say that because it sounds good on a YouTube channel. It really is. They get so excited about that. It is such a big deal. And we really loved that component. And we didn't want to just draw names because for them, they wanted to give to everybody. It was a thing that they really loved to do. And so the first year, we took everybody to Five Below. And there were all of us there, and everybody had baskets, and we're trying to walk around with them, and everybody's yelling at each other because they're
across the store because she can't be on my aisle. And
it was horrible.
Crazy.
I
think it was hilarious, but it was pretty crazy.
I was sweating. Everybody's yelling. Everybody's trying to get away from each other, and it was like you had this idea of how beautiful this was going to be in my mind, and it was so horrible. And I got in the car, and I was like, we are never, ever doing that again. Never doing that again. So
the next year,
we do it a little different.
Ever since then, and this has been, probably 7 or 8 years running now. Maybe more than that. Maybe 9 or 10, because I think even before we adopted the 2 littles. Anyway, so for a long time, we have done the Christmas store.
And everyone loves the Christmas store day.
So this is, again, the day before our present opening day, which most years, like I said, is around the 22nd. And so we take the whole day, and it usually takes about the whole day. And we set up a Christmas store in one of the rooms in our house, usually our bedroom. And what we do is Francis bakes cookies or some kind of fun hot chocolate.
Christmas music.
We have Christmas music playing in there. We have a fire on the TV. And then Francis, I would like to say it's us, but it's not. It's just Francis, buys all of the presents. And so she buys enough gifts for each kid to receive a gift from everybody else.
And everyone knows when they're making their Christmas list, there is a sibling set of gifts. And they know that that is a very inexpensive gift. Just something small that they would like. Do not think that these are $10, $15, and $20 gifts. These are inexpensive gifts, things that they would just like, that are small, and they know to put those on their Christmas list. Things that they would love to receive from a sibling. Something that just throughout the year has been something fun that they would like to have, or Or I take a bigger gift and I break it into smaller pieces. Like if somebody wants football cards, but they want a lot of football cards, then what I'll do is we'll do a little baggie from one child and another. So maybe they'll get one big set, but I will make that into a couple of small gifts. So we sometimes will even break a bigger present, and I look for those that have components that are multiple. So this isn't an enormous, we have one budget and we stick to that budget, and that budget is not very big. And so we really adhere to that. It does not get crazy, but it has made it for so much fun. So they have already had a say in that.
For every child. And so this pile right here is all of the potential gifts for Joseph. And this pile is all the potential gifts for Scott. And so then we cover each pile up with a blanket so that they can't see each other. And then one at a time we bring the kids in. And so then they go in and they...
And theirs stays covered, of course.
Right. And so then, one at a time we pull back and they look at all Joseph's gifts, whatever's left in this pile, and they pick the one that they want to give him. And so
we draw names to who gets to go first in the Christmas shop.
We change that around.
The last person doesn't really get to choose. So we all draw numbers, and that person, as your number is how you get to enter the Christmas shop.
And so then they all get to shop for their siblings. And it's always funny to see, some of them spend a really long time like laboring over which of these 5 gifts they want to give them. And then some kids like Virginia picks whatever's square because it's the easiest thing to wrap.
That is so her.
And so everybody has a different approach.
But that's okay.
And so then they take those gifts and we sit down with them and they help us wrap all of those presents.
That's right.
And
we do Dollar Tree. They know this is another tradition that we do is every year there's the great Christmas wrapping paper choosing. I have to take pictures when I'm there for my big girls. They have to choose their wrapping paper and everybody has their own. And the Dollar Tree is so much fun because it's Avengers it's Mario this year or it's Hello Kitty or it's Elf.
You should see us leaving the Dollar Tree.
30.
You're talking about 10 of us, and then like everybody gets at least 3, maybe
and that
4
paper is like there's
rolls
not much.
because of depending on how big their presents are. And so we're walking out with like 30, 40
bows
rolls.
and stickers. We don't skip on that because every gift has its sticker. It has a bow on it. It is really a labor of love.
So then they wrap the presents for the other siblings in the paper they've picked. So then they get a pile of all of
and
this.
They know
everything in this one is all of the presents I'm giving. And so then we sit down and they eat cookies and we listen to the music.
It's just
and
time
they wrap
with
the
us
thing.
too. It's very specific time with us.
This is why it takes forever because it takes 30 to 45 minutes probably per kid. And then when they're done, they take their big wad of presents and they go put it under the tree.
Come out and all the kids get excited
and everybody starts looking and then we call in the next kid and we do it all over again.
And they love it because not only is it a time to us to foster giving and thinking about other people, taking our eyes off of what am I getting under the tree, but the excitement of what I'm giving. And really, you and I both know this, the blessing and the most joy comes when they get to watch other people open gifts. But it's also a time in the busy Christmas season with a large family that we really set aside one-on-one time with each child to really talk to them, to be excited about what they're giving, and just to check in on them during this Christmas season. And with a big family, you just have to be intentional about that. And it is a beloved time that everyone gets excited about.
So then, once everything's done with that, it's usually late in the evening, and so that's when we open that first gift.
We usually get pizza because no one got time to cook.
Yeah, because then that way everybody can kind of graze as they want to. And then everybody opens their pajamas, we put on our pajamas, and then we go get hot Krispy Kreme donuts and go drive around and look at Christmas lights. And so that's kind of the end of that day. And then we come back and, like I said, usually that next day is kind of our present day. And like I said, it lasts all day long. We have a couple of, we always make monkey bread and sausage balls. I mean, I don't know how long we've been doing that.
We've been
so we get up early and we cook those. And so they're great kind of grazing things.
And we stop and do that and we eat and
let the kids rush down. We usually have a few things laying out for them. So they all, get to have that whole experience of running down the stairs and into the living room and looking at the few things that are out. Then we stop and we eat a little bit of breakfast. And then we start with the gifts. And so we usually start with everybody's big 3. And like I said, we do everything one at a time. And so we change up the order of who gets to go first every year again. Sometimes it's youngest to oldest, oldest to youngest. Sometimes it's random. And they pick one of their big 3. They open it. We go to the next kid, they open it, we watch it, we go all the way around. So that's, 3 presents for every kid all the way around. And then we usually stop and we have to clean up all the wrapping paper.
Yeah, because I'm not a gift bag person. I want them to just rip into it. I want the excitement. And it also takes a lot of time. I want them to wrap gifts. I want them to take time and energy. It's just something that we do. It really is just kind of a whole experience. That I'm very experiential, if you can't tell. So I just love the experience of all of it. It's one day. It is one day throughout the year. That and your birthday are the days that we really try to make this special. That is kind of goes a little over the top, but it is the one day that we do that, and we really enjoy it.
So then once everybody's done with those 3, we clean up, we eat a little bit more, then we start with the sibling giving, and so then one at a time they go and they get their big pile and they give the presents out one at a time in whatever order they want to give them out in.
All up to
then
them.
We stop, they watch that kid open, we go through, usually about halfway through we have to stop and clean up again, and then we finish up, and then they give their gifts to us, and then everybody plays with their toys. We spend the rest of the day.
Eat leftover pizza. Sometimes we make a big meal. It just depends on how we feel about it. How
but we never leave the house. Like that day, we never leave
all
the
day
house.
long. We
all day
do
long,
not
everybody
leave the
stays
house.
in their pajamas. They get to play with their toys.
We go get takeout, or we decide to make a meal together. Just however we feel, however the day's gone. But it is absolutely just a veg day. And as families during the Christmas season, and especially families in ministry, we didn't get that hardly at all during the Christmas season. We had cantatas and all kinds of Christmas outreaches, and so for us, being at home during the Christmas Day season was wonderful.
So then that would leave us on Christmas Eve to be able to get up and kind of prepare everything for the next day, do all of our big Christmas Eve services, candlelight services that night, and then come back. And then on Christmas morning, we always get up and we have a birthday party for Jesus. And so the night before on Christmas Eve, we literally decorate
just like
whatever room
birthday.
it is for a birthday.
There's beautiful Happy Birthday Jesus stuff on Oriental Trading Company that I order. We make it very specific to him.
But it looks like a birthday. It doesn't look like Christmas.
Yeah, streamers, everything. Plates.
Christmas Eve night, we make a birthday cake. And so this is the only day out of the year that you get cake for breakfast.
For breakfast,
we have some other things with it, but cake for breakfast.
So it's like Christmas Eve is the turn for us. That's the turn. That's when we watch The Star is Christmas Eve night. Sometimes we watch the Nativity Story, depending on, maybe after the kids go to bed, we'll watch the Nativity Story together. We really make a turn. So on Christmas Eve until Christmas Day, that's where things just all become about our Christmas Eve service. We usually have the Lord's Supper at our church, candlelight caroling, the birthday party for Jesus set up. It's just all of that. And then that morning, it is music. We have birthday music that we play, and it is all about his birthday, where we read the Christmas story. And then we do something neat. Each of us gives 2 things. One, we have a heart box that we keep out every year, a star box. And every year, for as long as I can remember, we write down a gift for Jesus. So for that year, how are we going to grow our relationship with Jesus more? Maybe that's to work on our patience and ask him to help us with that. Maybe that is to give more time to someone in need. Whatever it is, you give a heart gift to Jesus. And then we usually purchase something as a family from Samaritan's Purse, and Operation Christmas Child has gifts that we can purchase for people around the world. So maybe that's buying some chickens for a family in need, just gifts that are of giving, just an overflow offering from our family to maybe Bloody Moon Christmas offering, just whatever ministry that we feel like we want to give a heart gift to. We decide on that as a family, and then we purchase that day, and we send that off, and we give that. And so those are our 2 heart gifts that we give to really show the gift giving back to Jesus, a way for us to give and invest in other people, not just in our family, but around the world.
And so that's kind of our Christmas experience from front to back. So here, check out some of the craziness. Wait on everybody else.
Wait, you have to stop right there.
Start! Yes! Start with the show for me!
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody!
Yeah, look at the movie!
Look at the movie! Look! It's frozen!
It's all up to you!
Now look at your toy! Oh, look, it's Mickey Mouse! And don't out.
Right in between.
Right in between. Christopher, look. Look at it. Wow.
Mom, is this for me?
Yes, that was for you.
Mom,
So cute. Don't you like those? We're thinking Duck Dynasty. Look at your shirt. Miss Kay's Duck.
Mom, should I open it? Mom, should I open it?
I'm the bomb.
Mom, should I open it?
Dad,
Yep,
I'm the bomb.
you're the bomb.
It's like a shirt. I'm the actual bomb.
I'm the
That's
actual
just for
bomb.
everybody.
Mom, should I open it?
Yeah. Good job, shirt.
Look.
Yes,
Yes, I saw that.
yes, I saw that. You like the shirt from Justice and the hat?
Oh,
And look,
the cheetah.
I smelled it. I thought it was what I wanted.
Measure.
Look what you got.
It's still warm. Hey, look from. Wait, look from. No, wait, Joseph, look what we got.
Good job.
Is this mine? I got lightsabers. I got lightsabers. Ah.
Look at the dollhouse, Sky. Look at the dollhouse, Sky. Oh, that over there is for you. What do you think about your dollhouse, Sky? It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at it. And there's all kinds of people. Look, Ansley, is that not amazing? It's cute. But it's wonderful, isn't it? Love it. So slow, Joe.
What are these?
You're welcome. Those are wild. Once we get going. All right. Ready, Joe? On your mark. Get set. Go.
Whoa, it's a baby Yoda.
Yes, wrong. We know you got it. What is it? Give it that sit down. Oh. All right, now let's sit down. There we go. All right. Oh! This is your year of giant toys.
I had no idea. There's no window in the box.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's to Christopher. Okay, she said you can go. Hey. Whoa. Okay, let's see what's like. Ow, that's for your neighbor girl doll. Take out the snack. All right, Rosie. Ready, set, go. For you and Ruthie to share. Yeah, you're gonna share with each other. You open everything and ask for your favorite part. What do you think, Joe?
That's a cool dude.
Oh, isn't that cool? Look at it. Those are good looking. Oh, look at this, Joe. I like this.
So there it is. It's a lot. From Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas Day, we do a lot of things. And honestly, sometimes that can get to be a burden for some people, especially if you've got those friends that take really great Instagram pictures and they're putting all those amazing things on there and you're like, man, why am I not doing that?
Yes.
But let me tell you that from Thanksgiving through Christmas Day, we say yes to a whole lot of things, but we also say no to a lot of things.
Yeah, and I would just encourage you, we share that story about the Five Below, to realize that in our minds, we can start out like gangbusters in the Christmas season with all of the trimmings and all of the festivities and the parties and the giving and the neighborhood gifts and the kid gifts and the friend gifts and the gift exchanges and the cookie exchanges. There is so much going on that it can really be overwhelming, and I can absolutely tend in starting out like gangbusters and have all these ideas, and then we're just limping in to Christmas Day. We're exhausted, we're overwhelmed, and we just feel overextended. So my biggest piece of advice would be to pick one thing. If everything else happens, that's great. But what are the pillars of your family, of your faith, and the fun? What is something that you want to make sure that you end this year well on, that you finish up the Christmas season and you don't want to pass by? For us, it's the Jesse tree. If we get nothing else done, that's the number one thing. And even that, we don't do so great sometimes. But this year specifically, we have made that so much of focus, and it's just the one thing, because every single day we gather around on the bed, we turn the lights out, we light our Advent candle, and we read a story of God's faithfulness throughout the whole counsel of God's Word, of how He has promised Jesus and how He prophesied about Jesus and how Jesus was the fulfillment of everything in this history. And so that's our focal point. If everything else happens, that's great. Most of the time it doesn't. But there are some pillar things that we don't want to end this season without doing. For us, it is the Christmas shop. For us, it is maybe that Christmas Eve celebration, and no, it is, of doing the birthday cake for Jesus. But maybe at the beginning of each of this season, write that down. Decide as a family, what are a couple of things that we really want to do? And then if everything else is just icing on the cake, everything else is just the fun portion. But don't get so distracted, as I'm easily able to do, by all of the trimmings of the season, and sacrifice the truth of the season, of why we're celebrating. What is the purpose? So don't let that pass you by. Don't let it get overwhelming, and don't let our video make you feel inadequate or that you're not doing something right or good enough, because that's not the focus. The focus is on Christ and what He did. It's not on what we do or what you do. It's on what God did through Christ. And if that is our focus, then everything else just gets to be joy and blessing. But when we make that the focus, then it becomes a burden. So I would encourage you to flip the script this year. Find out at the beginning what's important and see that through, and just let the rest happen if it does, and if it doesn't, it's okay, because you feel good about the thing that actually did happen. And that really doesn't change, because that's the birth of Jesus, and that's celebrating that as a family. In whatever way you do that, hold on to that truth and don't let that escape this Christmas season.
So that's it for this video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, we would love for you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment of some of the things
what
that
do you
maybe
do
you
at Christmas?
do at Christmas. We would
What's
love
a
to
priority
hear from
you have?
And of course, here as we are closing out not only this video but this year, we just hope from our family to yours that you have a very merry, Christ-centered Christmas.
Bye, guys.